not just the new announcements and the new leaks and things like that, but also some of the discussions happening in the community, the different community content that people are putting out and things like that, and just making sure everyone is in the loop with all of the really, really important stuff happening in Illuvium, along with some of the other stuff. And the other best part of this is we can also answer questions and things like that. That's why we're in a live format. Really, this doesn't need to be live, but I mean, I know TSG agrees with me. We just love answering questions, and this sort of format is perfect for doing so. So it means we get better content out of it, we get more helpful content, and we get to hang out with you guys, which is really sweet.
It's
so yeah,
way more fun. It's way more fun than recording it and then posting it later. So yeah, live content all the way.
All right. So do you want to jump with the first one straight away, or?
Yeah, for sure. Take it away, man. What do we have?
Just firstly, I'll quickly say that this is going to be a relatively short episode. I think there's not a whole heap that happened this week, although we did get an announcement several hours ago, so we're going to be talking about that a bit as well. But yeah, there's a lot going on leaks wise, but otherwise there's not heaps. And yeah, I don't think there's been a showcase this week, so it's our time to shine.
I feel like we're now becoming the showcase. This is where it's come. This is what it's come to.
Oh god.
That's
funny.
All right,
so this first one is sick. Now, many of you guys actually probably watched my "I've never been more bullish on Illuvium" video. I still truly believe that, obviously, but I did spend a bit of time on the meteors in that video. Okay, where I thought that the meteors and their impact on the entire environment and things like that was a really interesting thing to add to Illuvium, and I think it adds a lot more to this whole cinematic feel that we're going for. And here we got another one. Let's jump into it.
Full screen it. Yes, sir. Yeah, man, this is sick. So I don't think have they kind of mentioned what the meteor was yet? I don't think that's been made public yet.
Yeah. Right? Someone's definitely said it. I'm pretty sure Grant said it on the showcase. It is one of the legendary augments.
Okay, cool.
Which makes me assume that this is also a legendary augment. Now, what's key for me here is I don't know if they've quite added it yet, but if we saw this wave interact with the alluvials, like bounce off of them, knock them over, things like that, that would be peak. Like turning it into a true cinematic battle. The battles already look pretty awesome when you get rid of the UI and everything. And I just hope they keep taking that step forward, even if it's not in V1, but at some point that'd be really exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited to see what they actually do in the game, because I don't think that's been mentioned about like what the effect is. And truthfully, I don't even know. I mean, obviously with the meteor, that's pretty easy to kind of figure out what that does, whether you know or not. This one, it might be a little bit different. I don't know. Maybe it slows down your energy regen for a bit. Who knows, right? It could just be straight damage as well. Who really knows? But I think including these now, it's going to add like another layer into the gameplay, so it's going to be cool. And yeah, fun fact, I actually tried PvP with Dick yesterday. It was a little bit bugged out, so we couldn't complete it completely, but no, man, it's looking good. I won't say more than that, but very, very exciting times for sure.
Yeah, this one looks absolutely sick. I cannot wait to get my hands on PvP. Let's just put it that way. All right. So the next one we're going to jump into is the Atlas in the Overworld, okay? This is a big deal, and we're going to go over and explain a little bit of what this is about.
Yeah, you can't really see that it's Atlas, but
yeah, you can.
I mean, yeah, you can. Yeah, if you pause it on frame. But no, this is really, really exciting, and the fact that they're starting to do this in game is really, really exciting.
I don't know why it's being
Can we
so
talk
laggy
about when it's going back up? Because I lost 5,000. I don't know what you want us to say. I don't know what you want us to say. Well, I shouldn't be laughing. Condolences for losing your cash. I feel like everyone's down pretty bad, but yeah, be patient, fam.
But yeah, so basically, for anyone that doesn't know, what this is showing is there's an Atlas. Well, it kind of looks like an Atlas, but I don't know if that's necessarily going to stay. But it's like walking around, it's moving around and things like that. And we can see from DJ Sam's tweet over here, it looks like Atlas is following around the overworld. But he says that Aaron said in Discord that the wake will now be an alluvial and it can run away from you. And that is a big moment.
Yeah. So I don't know if you've Grant's mentioned this a couple of times as well publicly, so I don't have any issue saying this. But yeah, legitimately, one of the big things was, oh no, the gameplay in Overworld is boring. And obviously, we're taking steps, right? Like we can't get from A to Z immediately, so we're taking steps. So we've used the wake instance for the time being, and it's going to be time away before we see alluvials live in the Overworld. So what's the next step? What can we do to make it more exciting? Is actually make sure that you have to chase the alluvials, make sure that they run away and they're not just floating around in a circle. Like that's kind of, it's boring. Like to kind of just see going around in circles, it's not fun. Whereas if you kind of trigger everything, it kind of starts speeding up. It's kind of like in the trailer where you see Arlen kind of like slide on the thing, like try and chase it around the corner. You kind of want to have that feeling, especially now with gliding, with sliding, everything like that. Having that into it, I think is going to be super fun to begin with. Again, it's not the final version of what the game is going to look like, but for that next step for open beta, if we get that in, that actually makes it feel like there's a purpose to having your gun. Otherwise, I know Tallulah legitimately plays this way. She stands still, aims the gun, and waits for the thing to like go around, and she's fine. It's so like it's ridiculous. And for me, I just kind of like jump on top and start spraying it. That's what I do. But having it kind of like zip away and do stuff, like you actually have to think about it. Yo, I'm going to try cut them off here, do this. Like, I'm really excited. I'm really excited.
Especially if the alluvials had different behaviors and things like that. Like one of them was like a ram-fiery one. Maybe it doesn't have a ram-fire inside it, but it's a ram-fiery one. So it's maybe it's really high up and it flies really fast. Atlas is quite slow along the ground. Maybe Goliath's really quick. And we get back to the trailer and that whole scene with her shooting the Goliath and everything like that and getting to that point. Yeah, I'm excited. I think any sort of thing where you get close and then it runs off, even if it's still just a circle, I really don't care too much. I know how much work it would do it with the alluvials. Yeah. Quite frankly, at that point, when does it just become an alluvial and you stop with the whole wakes thing? I'm not sure how that intermediate kind of works, but I know that one of the big issues with getting the alluvials in the game is the feet and things like that, and like more specifically that there's lots of slopes and different level ledges and things in Illuvium, and it'll look pretty janky if you start just chucking them in. And I definitely understand that, but and I feel like this holographic kind of wake version of the alluvials means you don't need to worry about their feet. I feel like that's a really novel solution. And I reckon that's why they've done it.
it's a nice filler. I don't know if that's the reason that they've done it, but it's a nice filler, like from A to Z, right? It's a nice kind of I like it. I think it's going to be really exciting. I know Grant is hypercritical on everything that the team does, and I think we all know that Grant has openly said that he told Kieran he doesn't want to work on this unless it's AAA, like top of the line. So his standards for this, I think his standards are much higher than anyone else's, even Aaron's. For the final product. I think that's just who he is. So this, I think, is really cool for that first step. And I think it's going to be like, and he's personally said when we have private beta 3, that's going to be a massive jump from what we have in private beta 2. So, I mean, look, if he's saying it, I'm going to hold weight on what he says, and legitimately, like, he knows what we're going to be trying to do, right? So with PvP, with an actual improvement in the overworld gameplay, I think that's when things are, for me, going to get really fun. Because truth be told, I don't play PB2 that much. I have things to do. But once PB3 comes out, I might get fired for playing too much. Maybe. That's kind of the hope, right? Not me getting fired. The fact that it's that enticing.
Well, that actually really brings us up to our next leak here, right? Is the Nether Site leak. Now, the first thing I thought when I saw this was, after I played PB2, I had this thing in my head, like, they're gonna add leveling alluvials. Maybe I want to wait for open beta. I'm not really like leveling alluvials will have a big impact on the gameplay for sure, but I'm not really seeing like PB1 was PB1. It was our first exploration into Crimson Waste. PB2 added 2 massive new regions, and we're not getting any more regions for PB3. So it's like, kind of like, what more can they add to really entertain me in a new beta? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this Nether Site really allowed me to start thinking. It really changed. It flipped that for me really quickly. And I know it seems simple, but it's a big thing. Oh my god,
No,
it
it's huge. It's
doesn't want to
huge.
work.
Yeah. Discord videos are horrendous. No, I think it's huge. Yeah, like it just makes the game look better. It kind of makes it feel more immersive. Like the first iteration of Nether Site did what it was supposed to do, but it was just like you just go black and white. That's it. There's no kind of futuristic tech. Like it's just kind of there. Whereas this looks like, yo, it really makes you feel like you're there. And even the way that it goes up on the rocks and the plants, like it's registering. It's really there. No, I love this. I think it's amazing. I think the next private beta is going to be additional stuff for the gameplay, which and for the experience. I think that's super important. And then adding some VFX stuff to just make it that one step closer to that final product. Is kind of the goal.
Well, I kept thinking that like the game was like Overworld wise, the game was finished. Like it's highly playable. It's definitely AAA to a certain extent, but there's clearly so much more that can be done to enhance it. And I don't know how long this took someone. Like it looks complicated, but ultimately, I don't think this took that long. But I love the idea of adding lots of these little things to the game as we're going into the next private beta and into open beta to just add. There's so much polish we can add, and it's very, very exciting.
Yeah. Agreed. No, I'm very excited. I'm very, very excited. And we've hit everything on the roadmap so far. So fingers crossed we keep smashing that out. And what PB3s in Q3. So I mean, fingers crossed.
Q3 starts in like 10 days, right?
Yeah, I mean, relax. It won't be in the first month of Q3. But yeah. I mean, shit, I'd be surprised.
All right. Let's jump into the next one. The Augments. Okay. Now, I actually really liked the icons for the Augments beforehand. But now that I've seen these new ones, those old ones are kind of trash, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know why you like the original ones. They all look the same to me. I won't lie to you, they all look the same.
Yeah, no, I couldn't tell them apart. I'm not going to lie to you. I really like the simplicity stuff. I'm like, maybe I'll get used to them. But, ultimately, I probably wouldn't have gotten used to them. They were all too similar. It didn't really work. And
yeah,
I'm very excited to have these new ones. And they make a lot more sense now. And I can't wait. I also like how it's hitting on that TFT style a lot more. Now, I don't really want us to copy TFT or anything like that, but TFT did well for a reason, right? These things, them being distinct from each other, made it easier from a user playing the game sort of mindset, right?
Yeah, I mean, you need to care about the UX, right? Like the user experience. And if you click on any of them and let them, like, we'll show the audience the variations of them. Yeah, you can see how. Right. Yeah, right. It's very simple. Once you stop playing, it's very simple to see what's a small, like how it gets more powerful. Charles, I appreciate that you have also changed the tone very, very quickly. But yeah, glad that we can be helpful. But yeah, like looking at this, it actually makes me understand because I'm not a pro player. If I saw the other thing, I'd be like, yo, what is going on? Whereas once you understand what these do, I'm sure the image is going to very much kind of relate to the use cases of them. So it'll be very easy to kind of remember. Yeah. And like, if you look at them, it's so obvious if it's stage 1, 2, 3. I love the work. And they're going to be making these animated as well. So this is just the beginning again.
Well, I mean, it keeps coming back to that thing for me where Illuvium has such a top team of artists. Like, as much as all the other Web3 games want to say they have people that worked at Pixar and all this other sort of shit, I've seen the work they're doing. I mean, they're great, and some of their gameplay development stuff's pretty great and stuff like that. But they're just not putting in that high level of effort in their art. They just aren't, compared to Illuvium at least. I mean, they're still great, but they're just not doing it the same as we are. And the artwork is mind blowing, and and I'm just glad we're utilizing that. And this is one of the ways that we are.
100%. Yo, what's up, Yeti? What's happening?
This one could be a bit better. I like it still.
Yeah, I think maybe with animation. This one I love. I love
this one.
Yeah, tanky stuff. Yeah, no, I think it's great. I'm really excited. I'm really, really excited for what's to come.
All right, next thing we're going to jump into is the announcement. So firstly, you wanted to talk about GameStop is currently live. There's currently 12,553 discs remaining. We'll get to the extended thing in a minute, but if you wanted to talk about this.
Yeah, I mean, we went live. Obviously, we had some issues. We can kind of mix the next two things with it being extended as well. It was meant to be 3 days. Obviously, we had some issues with IMX and AWS. So that was a bit annoying. And we know how NFT sales go, right? If it kind of slows down at the beginning, it affects the way the sale goes, which is it's a shame that that's happened. And yeah. Look, it kind of happened on the alpha sale, the first alpha sale, and then this one again. It's not the greatest look, but in saying that, I think there was a conversation. I think Sam, 12K. That's 12K left to Lula, so it's 7.5K sold, which honestly isn't that. Again, truthfully, it's not that bad considering that we're in like the depth of a bear market. It's for what it is. It did all right. Now we go to Sam's DJ Sam with his post where he asked, "Yo, is this do we think that the GameStop thing is a success or a failure?" That I think is an interesting question. What do you think based on the stuff that we've seen and now it's being extended? We can go into all of that later. I know that there's a few people in the community unhappy with that, and I completely empathize. But going to the first question, success or failure, what do you think?
I think having a partnership with GameStop, but this is kind of reiterating what everyone said in his comments.
Yeah,
Having a partnership with GameStop is always a big win. I don't think the disc really mattered after that. I think as for the sale itself specifically, it's definitely I wouldn't call it uber successful or anything like
yeah.
that. I wouldn't say it was a failure either. It sits somewhere in the middle for me.
Mhm.
I think the price point was maybe a bit much. 30 or 40 would have made a lot more sense, if not cheaper. And the amount of different Illuvatars, although it seemed like a lot because 108 combinations and things like that,
It didn't feel like a lot, right?
I didn't like the way the distribution was set up. I think you
Yeah.
needed a lot more chances to be able to get some of the other ones. I opened 10 discs and got pretty much nothing. Maybe I'm just really, really unlucky, but I looked at the
No, I
stats.
mean
I looked at the
it is.
stats and
It's
yeah, like
accurate.
1 in 100 for like the middle tier thing, and that would have been like $5,000 you'd have to spend or whatever, right?
Mm.
That didn't really make much sense to me. I think
Yeah.
that could have been handled. Hopefully, could have been handled a little bit different.
Yeah.
But I definitely wouldn't call it a failure. No.
Yeah. And there's quite a few people in the chat as well. Like Dead Set, let's be honest in this conversation. And I'd love to hear what you guys think. Success, failure, and why. Like I'm genuinely curious to see what you guys think. So Matt, in regards to putting too many up, I actually don't think the number was the issue. I think there are other things that came into it, and the number wasn't that it. Are they adding any utility? I think that there's been discussions about utility for Illuvitas moving forward. I don't think that's been disclosed publicly what that is, but there are discussions internally about it.
Well, to be fair, the ETH Lizards is working on a Battle in the Beyond game, and they're hoping to have it out sometime this year. Hopefully, next 3 to 4 months, something like that. They started dev work, I believe, so that would be pretty exciting.
Yeah. So price point killed it. So this is, and I've had some conversations internally as well, and let me know what you think as well, Scoriox, and in the chat as well. I'm really curious to see what you guys think. I think, and I'm going to be like very careful with my words here. Ideally, if it was completely up to me, I would have had it as there's two options here. Either run it the same as a mega disc without the or even with the accessories, it doesn't matter, but have one from the original wave 1, and instead of the guaranteed rare, have that as a guaranteed promo. That to me could have made a bit more sense because the price is somewhat similar. That makes more sense. Or have the promo disc with 2 promo Illuvatars. The reason for that, and I'll explain my thought process here as well, and let me know what you guys think. Understand, and this is again where I like my decade. I can't believe I'm saying that. My decade in sales has taught me about consumer psychology. Right? If you open one disc and you flip one, and it's not what you want, the only emotion that you have is a negative one, which doesn't incentivize you to go get another one. You're just like, shit. And that's the only emotion. That's the flow right there. You buy, you open, shit. You're not going to say, let me get another one. There's no positive emotion there. But if we have two Illuvatars, even if they're two promos, you flip one, shit. But that hope for that second is that positive thing that you need. Then you flip the second, it's still not what you want. But at least that was that hope. That hope there then gets you to get the next one because you have two chances again. There's still hope for it. And I think that was one of the mistakes that we made. I think, and let me know in chat if you guys disagree or agree, and let me know what you think as well. That was one of them. What do you think about that? And then I'll go into my second point. But what do you think about that one?
I like it. I think it's hard with the 6 Illuvatars. 6 Illuvatars is a lot of Illuvatars, but the distribution is so uneven that it just doesn't matter. If you say you had 10 Illuvatars and 5 of them were commons, then it's a way different story. Because now you're not getting 5 Dokas, you're getting 5 commons that are all still different.
And this goes into my second point. I think there was a way that we could have overcome that, even if it was all Dokas. And what I've said was, like, you have with the Doka, do you want to bring up the slide and go into one of them just so I can have a look in and we have a visual representation? If you just go into the marketplace and pick any of them, it doesn't matter. But like, so what in an ideal situation, if it was completely up to me, you just go to the promo stuff at the very top.
Oh, right.
Yeah, GameStop. Perfect.
I'm used to using Illuvium Master.
Cool. Perfect. Like what we have here, right? Yeah, if you click on any of them, perfect. So what I would have loved to see was have the Doka, but have the Doka, you can see the accessories are the headband, the mobile phone, the cards, and the sweat vest, right? What I would have loved to see was you could get a Doka with just the headband. You could get the Doka with just the cards. You get the Doka with just the headband and the phone. That alone creates the variety of that Illuvatar, correct? And so someone like me, where I would have loved to have this guy without the headband and the sweatshirt, but just the phone and the cards. That to me would be the perfect one for this. And that starts to create that demand for, even if you get the same Doka, it's fine. Like, even if you get a Goliath, I would have loved to have a plain Goliath with just the wizard hat because I'm a Harry Potter fan, right? And that creates that fun there where we see it with Kieran when he pulls a Rampire and we shit on him and like, yo, you only got a Rampire, but look at the background. Like we start him up, but it's got a base expression. Like having the variance of the amount of accessories, I think would have been way different. So having 2 Dokas, but having one with all accessories and one with only one accessory, the feeling towards it would have been different. And when you go on the marketplace, it's not just Doka, all the same thing. They're visually different, right? One has just a phone, one has cards and a sweatshirt, one has cards, sweatshirt, and a headband, one has a headband and a phone. There's so much variety there that I think that makes a massive, massive difference. That's kind of what I would have loved to see in a perfect world. But yeah, I think that those two things, having 2 Illuvatars and that change in accessories would have had a much more not exciting, but a much more enjoyable, that's the word. I knew it started with E. A much more enjoyable experience. But yeah, what do you think? What do you think, Scoriox?
I'm not convinced randomizing accessories would have helped. I still think you need more alluvials. I think the alluvials are the heroes here. Mm-hmm. Although if there were alternate accessories, that would be pretty cool as well. A few variations of the cell phone, and you can get one of those different variations. I think that would have a much bigger impact than just taking some away and giving some. And like, or even the headband changing color. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Sorry, the problem with that is that's additional work. And I agree with you. That would have been amazing. But that is additional work for the devs. And I know it might just be changing color, but not the devs, for the artists. And I know that just might be changing colors, but I don't know how long that takes.
I do.
Okay, yeah.
I change colors on things a lot.
Okay, yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, like what's his name? Josh said, it's the first promo. Did we sell them all? We'll have to wait till after the extension. But I think there's still overall we learned a lot from it. And I think it's going to be very, very good to kind of use this information moving forward. And also I think we've just had a lot of sales. We had wave 1, we had merch store, we went promo disc, and then what we had wave 2 coming right after. There's a lot, and I think breaking that up might have been the play, but I don't think it's a failure. I wouldn't say it's a smashing success. I think there are pros and cons of this experience for sure, and I don't think focusing on only one side is beneficial to the conversation at all.
I think what I've noticed the most is the lower price points are just working. Like people are buying them. Like the $8-9 standard disc price point, people might not buy 100 at once, but there's a lot of people that just buy one once a week, and really that's a lot of volume, and that's good. That's nothing to shy away from. So yeah, I think if we can stick to that mantra a little bit as much as we can, I think that could have a pretty decent impact. I think the 150, including the expressions, the 150 Illuvatars to collect in the first wave was pretty sweet. Like you bought that standard disc and you're normally getting something different for your first 50 discs or so. Then you're starting to double up on like Atlases and Archies, but it's really not that bad because you're getting that holo, you're getting the different expression.
Yeah.
And there's just so much variety at the low price point. It feels like collecting cards, which has been successful for a lot of years.
Yeah.
So I think returning to that collecting card thing is going to be a good way to move forward. I think that's kind of where my head's at.
Yeah, I think for the promo and truthfully, I think the price isn't bad, but it needs to have
it definitely needed accessories in the pack or a second Illuvatar, all that sort of stuff.
Like it needed something for it to grant it that price point. I don't think the price point was a major issue. It's not like $100. It's $50. I think it's a one-off. It happens once every like 3 or 4, 5 months. We have these. It's not like every week, every day. It's ongoing. But I get it's not ideal. I get it. But I think the way to make up for it is not by bringing the price down, but adding more value to it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the other side of things is that Illuvatars is such a weird place in the Illuvium ecosystem. If I'm completely honest with you, I think the majority of people couldn't care less. And a lot of people care about every other aspect of Illuvium. And tying all that in, we did pretty well with the launch party of Wave 1. Tying it in here would have been nice. Like if you bought 2 or 3 discs, you got this special GameStop battle board skin that was going to come out later or something like that. You watch that thing sell out instantly.
Yeah,
like that's actually pretty relevant because that's a GameStop thing, which is what you want, but for a part of the game that you care about. I think that's
I mean that's a good shout, and I'm definitely going to bring that to the team after this call.
Yeah, I mean, or even an Arlen skin. Like, yeah, I mean, people love the GameStop branding, but they don't necessarily love Illuvatars, I think, and maybe that's part of the problem.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Again, it's a learning thing. I don't think it's a smashing success. I don't think it's a complete failure. I think anyone that thinks either is lying to themselves. I think it's a lot more nuanced than that. It's almost 250. That is a lot. Oh, okay, yeah, maybe you're right, Rams. I'm not considering other currencies. I can stand on that. Sorry, I'm from Australia, so when I think about it, I'm thinking in US and Australia, but yeah, there are other currencies in the world.
You get Pokemon cards cheap, Ramzo. The hell?
Yeah, $10. Yeah.
Pokemon cards cost like $6 or $7 US.
Yeah,
you're doing well.
Yeah. So we need to start bulk buying from wherever Ramsey lives.
Damn straight. All right, let's jump into the next thing. We're going to really quickly look at the actual announcement for the extension.
Yeah.
Basically, all it says is that not really say anything, does it? Due to technical disruptions, they're extending it. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, I personally don't have a major issue with it. I know Kieran's mentioned that we're going to try and do something else to incentivize and reward people that are participating. I don't feel that bad about extending it. I know some people do because they wanted it to be even more exclusive. I get it. Yeah, I don't have much to add on this. But, real quick, Philo, the GameStop collection was for high rollers. Yeah, and like one thing I want to say is it was made incredibly hard to complete the collection, which is not the intention. The intention is to have people collect the collection. Having 2 or 3 people complete the collection was never the intention. So yeah, there was that. But yeah, what do you think about the extension, man?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's too much time to a certain extent. I think that feels a little bit weird since the delays were only about 12 to 24 hours. But I mean, I don't mind too much. I was pretty excited that not many were going to be minted since I minted so many myself. So that's going to make them more valuable. So maybe this is a little bit rough, but honestly, I think this is what's best for Illuvium, and I have to try and take my own bias out of it. Yes. But if it was just me speaking personally, I would have liked them to cut off the sale. That's how I make the most money here, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? It's like understanding, like taking our sale, because I've got not a bunch. I've got 10 that are still unopened as well. So like for me, I'd want to end it right now if I'm being selfish. I'm like, yo, stop right now. Let me have But I think for the betterment of Illuvium and the DAO as a whole, I think it makes more sense to extend it and let it kind of run and do its thing and really kind of try to amend the some of the I won't say mistakes, amend the experience in another way at least, rather than kind of just closing shop and being like, that's it, that's all. I think that additional time allows us to kind of put forward a somewhat of a solution. But yeah, cool. Let's move on. Let's move on to the next thing.
Merch store reviews. So we'll check out this one individually in a second, but if we keep scrolling down, we've got Caveman wearing it out in public. He's got the different merch stuff.
Yeah.
Damn, I need to get myself one of them.
Yeah, I haven't got my merch yet, dude. What are you thinking about? I know I watched your video, but I mean, a quick rundown on the quality of the merch. What do you think?
It's sick. I don't know clothes that well, if I'm honest. So I'm not really gonna. I'm not gonna really tell you I know what's going on. But yeah, it's much higher quality clothing than I've probably ever owned, to be honest. And yeah, it's really nice, subtle, simple. I look good in it, so black is always nice. Yeah,
black is slimming, which is why I'm always wearing black for that reason alone.
His expert showing off gear.
Yeah.
She haven't received yours yet. That's weird.
Me? Well, dude, I'm in China. I'm getting it delivered to Singapore. I'm getting mine delivered to Australia, then getting my brother to send it over here. So it's gonna take some time. So I'm excited. But yeah, I think it's cool. But some of the influencers now have their merch. I really liked Illumination's video when he was doing that. But yeah, cool merch. And this, look, I won't say anything more to that. But yeah, let's go to the Illumination's thing. Dr. Emery's,
let's do it. Slayer. So here's Illumination's video. He's pulling out the disc plate.
Yeah, he was the first one to get the disc plate. I'm so excited, man.
I can't wait to get mine.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
So good.
Yo, did I show on stream the disc plates that I'm gonna get? I don't think I did. Hey,
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'll stream my thing real quick. I really want to show them. I'm so happy with these, man. Let me see. Open in browser.
Oh, it looks so good.
Yeah, check these out. All right, can I zoom in on them? Yeah. Yes. All right, y'all. I'm going to share my screen. Check this out. All right, so I'm going to get this one. Yes, sir.
Very nice. I think you might have shown these, actually.
Oh, I don't know. I'm going to show them again. I fucking love them. Oh, Atlas and Archie? Yeah, I have. Yeah, that's it. Dude, I think they're fucking sick, man. Like, look at this. And then this one here with the background. Is it? Oh, it's not loading yet. Damn. Hold up. Show this tab. Yes, man. Look at this. It looks so clean. All right, cool. Yeah. You guys have seen it. All right, whatever.
I love it. I love it.
I'm just really excited.
There, go check out Illumination's tweets. He's tweeted about both the merch things, and I think he's done a really good job with them. So I just wanted to highlight that quickly because that stood out to me this week. And I don't watch a whole lot of Illuvium content, to be quite frank. I make a lot of Illuvium content, but I'm usually so busy that not much of it's coming off my feed. I do want to start looking at it more, though. The problem is that I know all the information already that anyone's ever talking about, so I haven't really learned anything from it. So it's tricky, but yeah.
Yep. All right, let's go straight. I mean, this is gonna take some time if we go into the wave 2 pricing. Do you want to jump into that one?
Yeah, in a minute. We'll just do this and we'll do wave 2 pricing. We're done.
All right, 666.
Alrighty. So DJ Sam made a thread. Oh crap! I forgot to put it up. DJ Sam made a thread about everything you don't want to miss from Illuvium. This is basically what this podcast is.
Yeah.
We're going to really briefly touch on it. He touched on a bunch of the leaks with the realistic colors and things. I made a tweet myself about this. I think it's a really big deal. It's way too hard for me to explain here, though. And I don't know it as well as someone like Grant or something. So we might have to get him on Augment to talk about this because I think it's a really big deal. So we'll talk about that later. Yes. We gained 10,000 plus emails from GameStop, which is actually a pretty big deal because they're a new audience to hit, and 10,000 plus is pretty solid. I think that makes GameStop partnership worth it in every regard.
That was yesterday as well. Those numbers are more than likely a lot higher than that now. But yeah.
So that's pretty exciting. He ran a poll. We talked about that earlier today. Illuvium Store opened up. We talked about that a minute ago. This we're about to talk about. We reached over 15 million people without you even realizing. What's his name? I can't remember what his name is.
Cam Nori.
Yes, Cam Nori had an ILV logo on his arm. Yeah, his arm for the tennis match, which is pretty sick.
On his sleeve. Sorry, Jesus. Yeah. Sounds like he got it tattooed on him.
There's this leak here. We'll leave it up to your imagination. Go check out the Cards of Eternity trailer if you want to see what that's about. But we're not going to delve into that.
On IGN.
On IGN, absolutely.
That was wild.
For some negative news, they got delisted off Binance US. Not a shock if anyone's been keeping up with this stuff at all. I know a few friends that I told to get onto Binance personally. And I've been telling them to get off of Binance personally. I've been trying to make sure I'm telling as many people as I can. Binance might be fine. I have no idea. But there's no harm in taking your crypto and putting it somewhere else, even temporarily. So there's a lot more risk if you leave it on there. That's for sure. Okay. So we've done some great numbers. I did want to talk about this briefly. We've got the top, top 40% of IMX volume. Well, not really. Like if you total all the volume together, we've got the top four spots out of 10, which is pretty exciting. And probably maybe 50% of all of no. If you excluded Gods Unchained, we probably have 50 to 60% of the rest of the volume on IMX, which I think is pretty exciting for someone without a game. So
yeah. I think this is, again, we're just starting. I don't know what else to add. Like, we're just starting. Once the game comes out, it's a whole different thing.
I like the idea that all our collections are doing their own thing. I think that's kind of fun. I think it wouldn't be crazy to think one day all 10 of these spots are Illuvium collections.
I mean,
even for a brief period.
It wouldn't be wild to say that. Yeah, for sure.
But like on launch day, for sure, you know?
Yeah. It wouldn't be a wild thing. Book games are still there crazy.
Yeah. So DJ Sam talking about the waves. Obviously, we talked about that earlier today. Well, we covered all this.
Yeah, we covered all this.
Atlas, we covered that.
Yeah.
And this is the one that I really wanted to see, is a behind the scenes video shoot that DJ Sam accidentally came across because one of his friends ran the shoot. Now, you'll know more about this than me. I have no idea what this is about, but they're doing a merch shoot, which is pretty hype. I really like it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this hasn't come out yet, right? Yeah, you guys haven't seen the shoot or anything like that. Hey.
Well, now we have.
Yeah. I've met with Dimitri's been working on this for time. It looks incredible. There's a couple of images where they're doing white on white. Damn, like the cream on cream. It looks slick. Yeah. And the models looking length. They look good. When I see them dressing, I'm like, yo, Jesus. Yeah.
Okay.
They definitely in the right profession.
We're not going to delve into that. Let's not unpack that. There's some history there, apparently. Let's just say. Okay. The last thing we've got is the marketing sub council put forward a proposal. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, since then, the GameStop sale has been extended, and some other things have come up to the marketing sub-council. So I will tell you guys right now that even though we're still having this discussion, and this is the reason I wanted to get this out so damn early, we're going to be having this discussion, but there's no rush on this decision to be made. We have time to get this right. Okay, I just want to say that, and probably in 2 weeks or so, we will heavily refine it. But with the extension of GameStop, and we want to analyze the data as much as we can of that and other things, we're going to take a little bit longer to make sure that we're doing this correct. But for anyone that hasn't seen this proposal, the long and short of it is we got advice from Aaron and Jeremy, Johnny, and the strategy sub-council, and we had a lot of our own discussions as well, and we took a peek at some of the data and things like that. A lot of the on-chain data and stuff like that. We'll take a look at some of the more behind-the-scenes stuff as well soon. And we came with an idea that we wanted to sell the standard and alpha discs for 25k standards and 5k megas. Since then, I'm considering that might change because Aaron did suggest a different ratio, and I was very fond of having the same ratio. But considering how GameStop went down, I'm starting to change my tune. And to have them at the same price as the non-alpha discs. And basically they become true first editions. And I like the idea of just maintaining that cheap price point for an alpha standard disc as long as we can.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, cool. Now that it's kind of public and the discussion is out, yeah, I'm all for it. I personally think that on a personal level, it makes sense. Like when you buy Pokemon cards, you don't pay extra unless it's on the secondary market for first editions. It's the same. You get a first edition, first come, first serve. It makes perfect sense to me to keep it all the same. In regards to how many, that's a discussion I would say I don't care. I'll leave it up to the marketing sub-council and the strategy council to kind of come up with those numbers. I think that we will need to do something to kind of I would say compensate for the wave one alphas. I think someone kind of mentioned potentially giving a few alpha discs for each wave in set one to make up for it. I mean, like that to me seems reasonable, but again, but then it goes into if someone bought 10,000, or if we had 20,000 mega discs alphas that were sold, that means we're going to see 20,000 mega alphas being added on to the supply of whatever number we choose. So we just need to understand that there's always going to be a high supply of alphas in wave 2 moving forward than we did in wave 1 because of that. But yeah, look, I'm all for it. I think the price point makes sense. Keep it low, make it, again, a fun experience for everyone. First come, first serve actually makes it exciting. It's like, yo, you come in, you get it. It is what it is. Rather than, it kind of like when I look at it, it makes me feel, it reminds me of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, where the golden tickets go out and everyone's rushing to try and get it. And to me, that seems a lot more exciting than, oh, you have money? Like when Veruca Salt gets it because her dad just buys a whole factory of them. It's like, no one wants the rich person to always win. Like, that's kind of stupid. No one wants the whale to win. We want to try and make it as fair as possible. And that's why in that movie, I'm realizing this is an exact analogy for, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. This is why we root for Charlie. We want him to get it. So we want the person with $8 to get the alpha that they want. It actually makes it a much more fair experience. And with that being said, the secondary values for the alphas, I think let the free market decide on its own without inflating that price prior to it even reaching the secondary market. I think makes sense to me.
But to delve a little bit deeper into the conversation, just like you said, the big negatives for the conversation have been people talking about how alpha wave 1 buyers would be getting a bit screwed if it became all of a sudden way easier to do. And then the hard part of this topic and this discussion comes down to, well, if we do this now, do we going to keep doing this moving forward? Do we ever revert it back and things like that? And like,
I don't think so.
It gets
just me. I wouldn't I can't see a reason as well, look, if all these other trading card games, Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, there's no such thing as a first edition costs way more out of the pack. That's just not a thing. Again, unless you're buying it off the secondary. So I don't see why we should change that. I really don't. And we've mentioned we see that the lower price point makes it much more accessible. I'm in China. A bus ticket from one side of the city to the other is 20 cents. That's why the volume is so high, because it's cheap. We need to kind of have that ethos moving into this as well, and then let the market decide 5 years down the line, is alpha wave 1 worth how much is that worth, rather than saying that, yo, we're gonna put the price on it so it needs to be that. I don't think that just makes sense.
I think it's a really hard balance to strike, because ultimately it's clear that alpha wave 1 is definitely not going to work a second time around. And no matter what we do, someone's going to get a little bit screwed. I think compensating them in some way is definitely an ideal path moving forward, but that's still not going to make everyone happy, depending on what we do. Some things might, but those things we might not necessarily be able to.
Yeah.
And then in the future, we might have to adapt a completely different idea for alphas entirely. And it's one of those things where I think we just have to take the loss for what it is. We knew it was very experimental in wave 1.
Yeah.
I think anyone buying should have been aware of that. If they weren't, then that's unfortunate as well. But we knew it was going to be experimental, and now we're going to have to take some short-term pain for a better product in the long term. And if that upsets a lot of people, it's going to be an unfortunate side effect. And I really hate that. I do, but I don't think we have much of a choice, to be honest.
It is what it is. Like, it sounds horrible, but it is what it is. And people, I get it. It sucks. I also got alphas. Like, I'm not like just out here like, oh no, I'm in that page. Like, I'm in that situation. But also, it's like, if you look at it, this was the first time that we tried it. Like you said, it's experimental. If you look at it over time, people make adjustments. And maybe this isn't a great analogy. Maybe it works, but look at Apple Vision. Do we think that it's going to stay at that price point forever? It's the first iteration of it. Like, we just, over time, as they develop the product, obviously the production gets cheaper, the price goes down as well. But over time, prices change. Like, they learn and they gauge interest. And who knows, if they keep it at this price and it sells out like crazy and there's a huge demand for it, are they going to lower the price? Probably not. But there's data points that we need to look at. So we need to understand that. And again, I think the main thing here is to understand that our job is not to come for you and try and like jip you out of anything. It's legitimately, we're trying to make right decisions in the long term. It doesn't mean we're going to make perfect decisions like along the way. Definitely not. We're human beings. It's trial and error. That's what it is. But the important part is to actually take yourself out of the picture at that point. Try and be objective and see what's best for the entirety of this. But yeah, cool. Dude, anything else you want to add to this? Otherwise, we can close this out.
No, sounds good. I think good discussion.
Yeah, this was meant to be a short one. This was pretty good. But yeah, sick, guys. Yo, I didn't swear. I don't think I swore one time today. I'm super proud of that. But yeah, cool. Appreciate you guys sticking around, man. Again, if you guys like this type of content, let us know in the chat. I really enjoy doing this. We kind of, Augment comes on and off nowadays. So this is way more consistent and it's fun. It gets us to chat with you guys, speak to you guys like this. And yeah, it's dope. But anyway, guys, we out. Scoriox and me are going to jet. We will talk to you guys next week.
Have a good one, guys.
I don't know. Peace.
We appreciate